recent outbreak of swine flu, the Friday Funnies advises our viewers to wear a protective mask before watching the rest of this video. Personally, I don't think you can catch swine flu from your computer, but why take any chances? Thank you for your cooperation. Happy Friday to you. It is May 1st in time for this week's Friday Funnies. That's right, May 1st. Today is May Day, a very popular holiday over in Russia, but I really don't know why. Over here, it is the day before the Kentucky Derby, or Kentucky Derby's Eve. This year, my pick is going to be a 50-1 long shot called Mine That Bird, because to me, a bird in a mine is the first thing to die in case of a gas leak. So I'm hoping that Mine That Bird goes first across the finish line. In the political arena this week, Senator Arlen Specter, no relation to Phil Spector, Senator Specter of Pennsylvania has decided to change sides of the senatorial aisle and is becoming a Democrat. Specter has been a Republican for 40 years, but he said he wanted to become a Democrat because, in his words, "I'm sick and tired of paying income taxes." Elsewhere in the news, gays can now legally marry in Iowa. The swine flu is popping up all over the world, and President Obama told us on television this week that running this country is a lot harder than he thought it was going to be. Thanks for that reassurance. The apocalypse is currently at T-10 and counting. Here's the best stories in this week's news. The first story poses the question, where would you keep your Swiss Army knife? Voters over in Switzerland passed a bill this week banning hiking through their country while naked. Yeah, personally, I do not see the attraction of hiking through Heidi's neighborhood with the possibility of my goat Peter exposed, but apparently German tourists have taken a liking to hiking through the Swiss Alps wearing only boots and socks. Really? And the Swiss kind of resent this invasion of naked, pasty Germans because they claim that their presence has been putting a cramp in Swiss cheese sales and Swiss chocolate. Have you ever been to a Publix supermarket? They're kind of big down south, and there was pandemonium at the Publix this week. Just when you think you've seen everything, something like this comes along. Florida resident George Bartusik was caught in the parking lot of a Publix supermarket having sex with two, not one, but two inflatable love dolls at the same time. It was a menage a latex. Apparently, he had this threesome of blow-up proportions, and he was having a jolly good time, but people were walking by his car and got very upset and disturbed, and they called the police. So the police came and arrested him for indecent exposure, and as they were deflating his dates, they noticed that one of the dolls was filled with hot air. And George said, "Yeah, that's the one I call Nancy Pelosi." Meanwhile, at another Publix supermarket, Joseph Leonardi went in, and he was riding his little electronic cart that you see a lot of the older folks riding, and he was zipping up and down the aisles. He stopped and he picked up a candy bar, took a bite out of it, decided he didn't like it, and put it back. Then, as he's cruising down the aisle, he reaches out, grabs himself a bottle of blackberry wine, uncorks it, and starts chugging her down. Well, before you know it, his driving is becoming erratic, and he's popping wheelies, and a couple of store employees have to run out and stop him. And he said to them, "What are you going to do, call the police?" Which won him the Stupid Question of the Week award because police were called. He was charged with 2 counts of larceny and also charged with an RRR. Riding a rascal while ripped. Finally, geezers gone wild. That's what happened in Stroudsburg, Pennsylvania. 2 sisters were arrested this week and accused of selling heroin. One of the women is 65 years old and her sister is 70. They said they never took the drug themselves, but merely sold it to their customers. The sisters cited one of the side effects of heroin as constipation, and they said at their age, that's a very major concern. Their drug of choice? Ecstasy and Ensure. Hey, that's all I have for you this week. Remember, the Friday Funnies are brought to you swine flu free. But after you're done watching, you may want to wash your hands just to be on the safe side. I'll see you next week.